Okay, hello everyone. Is everyone here already? Okay, everyone hear me? Okay, so today we're gonna talk about intermediate praline. Okay, so you guys have any question you can ask. So I'll just briefly go through some of the product that is in the Apka Chef online video. So first it will be a raspberry bonbon. Okay, so it consists of a raspberry tea jelly and also a white chocolate ganache. Okay, so it's actually quite simple for this one. You have the raspberry flavor and then you have a red fruit tea infused. Okay, if you want to infuse with other spices or flavor, it works as well. Okay, so for next we have, do you have any question about raspberry bonbon? Okay, if not, then we'll proceed to the next one. It's a raspberry star anise ganache. Okay, so this one is slightly more you have the infused with the star anise, you have some spice flavor, and then you have some fruity flavor comes from the raspberry puree. So it's a combination of a dark and milk chocolate ganache. Okay, so next we will have pear calamansi butterfruit and also apricot butterfruit. So both of them is actually butterfruit but with different flavors. So you actually can play with different type of flavor or puree as you like. Okay, so what is butterfruit? So butterfruit is actually gummies which is vegetarian that are set using a pectin which derives from plants. So this is very suitable for vegetarians. So pectin is usually used for a gelling agent in jams and jellies. Okay, so I'll go through a little bit about butterfruit. So as you can see here, butterfruit. Okay, first we have the puree to give you the flavor. So you can have different type of puree for your flavor. And then mostly if you see the ingredient in the butterfruit, you have a lot of sugar inside. Okay, so sugar are actually the main body of the butterfruit. And then third, we have pectin inside. So the reason why we have pectin is actually to thicken and also to set your butterfruit nicely. So next, usually if you see butterfruit at the end, you usually have a citric acid, lemon or lemon juice. Okay, so it's actually to decrease the pH value, which is more acidic, so you can activate the pectin nicely. And the other thing is that it can enhance flavor. So sometimes if you are doing something very citrusy or citrus family like lemon butterfruit or orange, okay, usually they don't add any more citric acid or lemon juice inside the butterfruit because their pH level or their acidic level is very high already. So usually citric acid and lemon juice usually you put in like raspberry or strawberry, which is not so acidic fruits. Okay, so too much acid in butterfruit will invert the sugar. Once they invert the sugar inside the butterfruit, your butterfruit will not set properly. Okay, so usually jam and butterfruit, there is the difference. So jam usually we need to cook until 55 to 58 bricks, which is more spreadable. But for butterfruit, we're gonna cook to 75 bricks. Okay, so usually butterfruit contains more pectin than jam because jam is spreadable, where butterfruit itself, it can hold the shape by its own. Okay, any question for the butterfruit? Okay, if not, then I will go to the common pectins that we usually use in pastry. So first it will be NH pectin and also yellow pectin. Okay, so usually yellow pectin and NH pectin we also used in confectionery. So NH pectin, they are reversible, can be remelt. That's why you can see a lot of NH pectin is present in neutral glaze, jelly, insert. Okay, it's actually a fast action pectin. So next we have yellow pectin. Okay, What it means by irreversible and reversible, which means it for yellow pectin, once you cook, it solidified, it cannot be in liquid form. You cannot be remelt. Okay, so you have example like a jam or butterfree. Okay, so usually jam, once it's already set, you cannot remelt them again. Okay, that's why they can withstand the room temperature, where you don't have to put inside the chiller to set the jam. Okay, so yellow pectin usually are slow. How to a certain pectin quantity if change in fruit puree? This one you can't change the recipe by itself, because different puree, you have different because every fruit they have their own pectin inside, is whether it's enough to set the butterfree or not. Okay, so if you can see the example we have here, pear calamansi butterfree and apricot patient butterfree. So I have something which is very mild. We have pear, and then I have a calamansi, and then apricot, which is a mild one, passion fruit, which is something which is more acidic. So if this one, you can change like pear to pear lemon butterfree, or apricot lemon butterfree, calamansi apricot lime. Okay, if you want to change for this kind of recipe, I prefer to change something which is more similar. If you want to change like a total different one, like raspberry butterfree, strawberry butterfree, the recipe will be different, where you cannot substitute originally like this. Like some of the fruits where there is no fiber, like actually example like lychee. Okay, it needs more pectin to gellify. Okay, so different recipes for each type of the flavor of the fruit puree you have. Okay, but this kind of the certain one, which is like one mild fruits and one acidic, you can change like the acidic one. Okay, so any more question for the pectin? Okay, so now then we will go to the hazelnut praline, and also we have wine coriander praline. Okay, so what is praline? Like I think most of you know already, is a thick smooth paste by grinding caramelized almond, hazelnut, or any other type of nuts you have. Okay, so praline is not able to hold the shape by its own. So usually if you buy the one in the tub in the praline, they are usually like a paste. So if you want to make them into a bonbon like this for dipping, adding cocoa butter and milk chocolate to provide enough crystal to hold its shape. So that's why you need to temper the praline. Is actually tempering the milk chocolate and also the cocoa butter inside to gain the crystal. Okay, so milk chocolate is also for the flavor as well. Okay, so we have the hazelnut praline, and also we have the other one. We have the possible to add spice for flavor, like praline, cinnamon, star anise. Okay, this one, the example, we use coriander. Okay, so you actually can flavor with different spices in your praline itself. Okay, so next we'll go for gummies. Okay, so gummies are actually quite simple. They are usually gelatin based. Okay, you can use if you see Chef Tan in the intermediate chocolate praline class, he actually do two types. So the top one is actually a raspberry jelly, and then the bottom one is the white color one is actually the vanilla gummies. Okay, so the raspberry one, he did not whip it, so you can get a very vibrant color. So the second one, which is the vanilla one, you can actually whip it up, so you can get the like a meringue color, like it's white, because you incorporate a lot of air inside. So actually for this gummies recipe, you can change with different type of puree: raspberry, strawberry, blueberry, blackcurrant, cassis, or whatever you want. Okay, for the gummies. But always take note if you are doing a very acidic gummies, because too much acidic, your gelatin will not set properly. So make sure you don't use too acidic fruits or puree for the gummies. Okay. So next we'll have this pear basil bonbon. This is slightly more different. So if you can have this one, pear calamansi butterfree. If you can see two different type of the butterfree. So once you can see in the individual, you can serve like this, pear calamansi butterfree. The other one we're gonna do as a filling. Okay, so this pear and basil bonbon, you have a thin 30% pear calamansi butterfree as a filling, and you have a basil ganache. Okay, as you can see in the video, the basil ganache for the pear basil bonbon, they are green color. Okay, so actually we blend the basil with the white chocolate ganache, so you can get a very natural basil, the green color in the ganache itself. So you actually can infuse with different types of herbs also as well. You want to go for lemon thyme, or you want to go for mint, spearmint, apple mint. Okay, it works also. So next, guys, any questions so far? Okay, next we'll go to exotic caramel. So we have an exotic caramel with mango, passion, and coconut. So you cook a caramel deglazed with the puree of mango, passion fruit, and coconut. So you get the caramel flavor and also the tropical flavor from the mango, passion, and coconut. So next we'll have a caramel ganache. So it's actually we have an exotic caramel and caramel ganache to enhance the caramel taste. Okay, so this caramel ganache with milk chocolate base as a ganache itself. Okay, so it's quite simple. You cook a caramel and then you pour into the chocolate and you blend. Okay, so next we have this Cassis caramel. Okay, so this is actually a soft caramel candy. Okay, it's just flavored with a different puree like Cassis, which is blackcurrant. Okay, so it's a caramel candy with blackcurrant. So usually this kind of candy, right, you need to cook until 120 degrees Celsius for the texture. Okay, what is the role in citric acid Cassis caramel and how to make citric acid solution? Okay, so the reason why we add citric acid is not to set the pectin, because as you know, Cassis caramel that does not contain any pectin inside, is actually to give you an acidic flavor. Okay, and then how to make a citric acid solution, which is you get a citric acid powder, you mix with the ratio of water 1:1. Okay, then you get the citric acid solution. Okay, so in the process of this Cassis caramel, you're actually caramelizing the dairy fat instead of the sugar, because you cook to 120 degrees Celsius, which is caramelization does not happen in 120 degrees Celsius. So the reason why we call caramel candy is actually caramelizing the dairy fat, which is in the cream itself. Okay, so the reason why we add cocoa butter into the Cassis caramel as well is actually to prevent when you eat the Cassis caramel, it does not stuck to your teeth or stick to your teeth. Okay, so you can eat the caramel candy without sticking to your teeth. Okay, because it's quite annoying. And it also helps to set properly for the cocoa butter. Okay, so citric acid is for the flavor, as I mentioned, because there is no presence of pectin inside the Cassis caramel. So if this one you want to replace with all the berries puree family, you can do it with the replacement. Okay, like you want to make it raspberry, strawberry, blackcurrant, blueberry, it works the same. Okay, so next we have a caramel ganache. Okay, so this caramel ganache is actually for dipping. So actually it's quite simple. You cook a caramel, it's almost the same as the caramel ganache for the exotic, so I will not explain a bit more about this, but I want to explain is about ganache fillings or cream ganache. Okay, so if you can see in all the type of recipe we have a different amount of the liquid and the ganache, like which is suitable for which one. Okay, so if you can see product of the use, firm ganache is usually for slab pralines, which is like this one. Okay, example caramel ganache or the dipping one. Okay, you actually need a firm ganache. Okay, so next we have medium ganache for pipe pralines, or we have a soft ganache for molded praline. So different type of ganache you will use in different categories. So soft ganache usually we pipe in the mold, so it's not gonna be too thick when you pipe into the mold. If you use the firm ganache to pipe into this kind of bonbon molds, the trouble you will face is that you're gonna air trap a lot of the air bubbles inside, because it's very thick. It's very difficult for you to fill up. So the more air you trap inside the bonbon mold, the shorter the shelf life of your bonbon is gonna be. Okay, so that's why we always use a soft ganache, okay, for the bonbon, for the molded one, and we use the firm ganache for the dipping one, so it can hold the shape nicely when you do the dipping. So here is the ratio chocolate to cream, okay, for all the ganache filling and cream ganache. So if you are using dark for firm ganache, you need to 2:1, which means chocolate is 2 and your cream is 1. So if you're using white chocolate, usually the ratio is 2.5:1. Okay. Can you please guide on temperature of browning of sugar in making caramel? Sometimes my caramel turns bitter even though it doesn't look too brown. Usually when we cook caramel, we don't really check the temperature. We are usually by eye. Okay, we always view by eyes, because the more you do, the more you understand. Okay, so I have one tips for you when you're cooking caramel. I always use medium heat. Okay, medium heat, and then I always cook my caramel slowly. If you are a beginner, I always turn off the heat when it's already yellow, slightly yellow. Okay, slightly yellow. So once you off the heat, you keep stirring until the color did not darken. If you want it to be slightly more darker, then you can turn on the heat more to cook the caramel more. So I always stop beforehand. So I need to check my color of my caramel very carefully. So usually I will just cook until light yellow. I stop the heat and then I check, I stir. Okay, I need to go more brown, so I can on the heat again. Don't stop your caramel when you cook. Oh, you cook the caramel, you get the exactly color that you want, or the darkness of the caramel you want, you stop and remove from heat. It's gonna be darker and darker and darker. Why? Because the pot is still hot. It will continue to cook your caramel. Okay, so usually I will stop from the heat before it turns to the caramel color that I want. Okay, any more question for the caramel? So do we have any more question about the products? So if there is no more question, then I think it's done for today. Can you please tell me what size of thickness is used for Cassis caramel, the acrylic frame? Usually I will go 2 mm, 2 mm, 4 mm. 4 mm is fine. Okay, so I will stack 2 mm of the acrylic frame together and I'll get 4 mm in the total for the Cassis caramel. Okay. Any more questions, guys? I will send the PDF file here. And then Vincent will also send it to you guys later, in case those didn't manage to copy. What is the shelf life of this caramel? For the caramel candy, you mean? PSK, can I know what caramel you are referring to? Or it depends, because like for caramel candy, of course it's gonna last for quite some times, but the problem with Cassis caramel candy is very sensitive to humidity. So once it contact with a lot of humidity, your Cassis caramel is gonna be very sticky. Okay, so usually if for the Cassis caramel, you always put in an airtight and cool storage. Okay, airtight to prevent humidity from going in, to prevent your Cassis caramel from getting sticky, or you can actually add silica gel, okay, to absorb the humidity. So for others, caramel is totally depends, because if it's like sealed in the bonbon, right, for this kind of bonbon you can last for 2 weeks to 3 weeks, no problem, if it's sealed properly. Okay, so any more question? Do we need to wrap this caramel or candies in a paper or plastic while selling? Yes. Okay, of course you need to wrap like what we do here with the plastic. Okay, so it can prevent the surface from absorbing the humidity. Okay, so usually we wrap with the candy wrapper like that, or the paper, the candy paper wrapper also, it works the same. Okay. If you don't wrap this, what will happen is that less than 1 hour, if you are in a very humidity place, your caramel, the Cassis caramel candy is going to be very sticky. Okay. Okay, if there's no more, then that's all for today. You're welcome. Stay safe.